Good evening. The shit is hitting the fan. The presidential candidates are dropping like flies, not in the polls, but I mean literally. And there's exercises in the South China Sea with Russia and China, practicing seizing islands and stuff like that. So it is definitely time to lock and load.
Sorry about that. I had a window open. I needed to hurry up and close.
Okay. Need to turn off myself in the YouTube page that I have open so I can see if anybody else shows up. But so we were talking about a lot of stuff, and last week I did we were talking about the Hanjin ships that were floating around in the ocean without crews and just lots of cargo on them. And Dano had an update on that one, and that you were saying the ships, some of them are being unloaded, and somehow the people working on the docks figured out how to get paid to do that.
Yes, the people who actually have cargo on selected ships are paying additional fees to have their ships unloaded so they can get their cargo.
So the people that they hired, the people that won't have their goods on there, hired the dock workers themselves.
Correct.
So
now, whether they'll all be eventually unloaded, who knows? But I know some of them are in the process of working in that direction.
Yeah, and you were saying that the ocean is holding the ships hostage because they're just drifting out there. Some of them don't have crews, some of them don't have gas.
And that's the crazy part. You would think just a navigational hazard that the Coast Guard would demand that those things be.
Well, who are they going to make a demand to? A bankrupt company that doesn't have any resources to do anything? They don't own the ships. The shipping company doesn't even own most of those ships. They're owned by some other bank, that doesn't want to extend credit either.
Well, let me go on the crazy train just for a moment here and say that since I'm going to say they pose a navigational hazard by just parking these behemoths out there, that after so many days, they are available for to be reclaimed, such as
salvage rights,
salvage laws. Yes.
I don't know what the salvage off. There's banks that actually own the ship, and it's just I don't know. I didn't study the law of the sea in college, so.
But if something is left not unattained, but unmanned, so to speak, and if it's determined to be lost
at sea.
Yeah, literally. Lost at sea. It can be claimed. What's the difference whether it's still floating on the water or 20 leagues below the ocean?
20 fathoms under the sea. Yeah. Somebody wrote a book about that. But it's just floating out there in the Pacific, like all the rest of the garbage in the North Pacific garbage patch. But
that's another story.
That's something else to panic about later. But it does seem that the nation is in panic mode, over almost anything. I mean, I can't believe that the just video that I did last week got over 1,000 views, and I just talked about something was happening that was weird, and but I guess it's just the nation is very panicky over everything, the world situation, and I got something on that because I was talking in the introduction about the exercises in the South China Sea where they're actually practicing seizing islands. I can't play the audio at the same time that I show some of this video and pictures, but I'll start with some pictures if I could find the right damn page. Here, let's start with this China news Twitter stuff. I gotta click a lot of pages to get to it. Here we go. Start on this one. All right. Russian fleet arrives at naval port in Zhanjiang ahead of joint drill with China in the South China Sea.
Yeah, I saw a very short piece on that in RT about how the Russians and the Chinese were having joint exercises. Now, they didn't say what the point was. And it's really kind of.
Well, I have video of it that I can show, and there's some cool AKs in there. But I think I saw it on Rogue Money, the Rogue Money website. I'm going to link that next. Let me get out of the Twitter site. Go to let me read the Rogue Money actually first. Here it is. Roguemoney.net. A Caucasus 2016 exercises carried out in early September along Russia's Black Sea coastline, including Crimea, in September 2016. Note that the amount of guided missile launching firepower, troops, armor, and aviation Russia is putting on display with its muscle flexing dwarfs what NATO minus Turkey can deploy to the same region through Romania and Ukraine. And this was put out by the official Chinese Navy account. The Joint Sea 2016 exercise will feature surface ships, submarines, fixed-wing aircraft, shipborne helicopters, and Marines, the Chinese Navy said in a statement on Sunday on its official microblog. Two countries will carry out defense, rescue, and anti-submarine operations, as well as island seizing. I live on an island and I don't want them to seize it. And other activities, if added. Marines will participate in live fire drill. That's the Chinese Marines. Island defensive and landing operations in what will be the largest operation ever taken together by the two countries' navies, the statement said. China announced that it had called the routine naval exercise in July, saying the drills were aimed at strengthening cooperation and not aimed at any other country, like, say, Japan. They must be.
Yeah, because they have a lot of love for Japan.
Well, they've been at it since before World War II, and
Oh yeah,
and of course, the Japanese officer that practiced bacteriological warfare tricks on China didn't exactly ingratiate the nation, of the Japan to the people on the continental China. So just another thing to panic about if you're so inclined. But let me get the video up, because I found that pretty interesting. Maybe we can identify some AKs or do something related to gun channels. Let's see. And so I'll plug gun channels. What the hell? I'm on gunchannels.com/HVS. There's a lot of interesting things on gun channels. And if you want to learn about firearms or the Second Amendment, it's a great place to be. Let's see if I can find the damn page. Oh, this is probably the page, actually. We just need to go. No, it's not. I have too many flipping pages open up. Let me find it. Oh, boy.
Wrong page.
Wrong page. Didn't they have China had a pilot, called Wong Wei, and that got shut down? And I know it sounds funny to the American ear, but they had, massive protest in China in front of like a U.S. embassy, where they, had like 1 million people surround the embassy or something ridiculous. I see Home Runner out there in the YouTube chat. I will find this page. It's one of these. This is it. It's some Russian page. Okay. Let me hit the button. Abracadabra. There it is. I'll also copy it and put it on the gunchannels.com/HVS page. I know you can't hear this, but maybe you can identify those AKs. throwing a few missiles and helicopters and landing craft. You can see that, right?
Yep, I could see it. They're dropping mines.
Sorry, there's no audio. I could make,
Now, what does that look like a version of? It's a Hind D.
Oh, it's a new Hind. All right. Oh, they've got jet skis.
Join the fun.
Well, we have those in Hawaii too, but all right. I think somehow I'm on the right page, but okay. What kinds of those are Bakelite magazines? Looks like, but I couldn't tell what kind of AK it was.
Well, between the movement and the graininess, it's really kind of hard to tell. I mean,
it's funny how not one of them falls down.
Yeah. We can edit that part out.
If some guy jumped out and fell face first into the mud, I think they'll cut.
And look at that ship. Notice how it's so pristine in front of the ship, like it's all graded.
Yeah, they wanted to. This is not how the normal beach you go to land on is.
Yeah,
it's like they got off at the airport or something.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the little side thing, so nobody would accidentally drive over. I mean, it looks like it's groomed.
So, you think, us people in America are panicked. Putin is definitely panicked. But he's definitely locked and loaded. So,
yep.
Say what you want about Putin. He's definitely locked and loaded. Yeah, that looks cool. I wish you guys could all hear the sound, but YouTube doesn't let us do that. But you could always just play Apocalypse Now if you want to hear helicopters. Geez, that's lots of helicopters circling.
Yeah, that is a rather excessive amount.
That's like enough flares to.
It's like an air show.
Any missile. All right. Oh, a Russian.
Yeah, we're going to put the flag in wartime. Well, we just want to let you know who we are. And of course, they're going to fly in formation.
Blow up some target in the water.
Yep.
Drop a billion flares. Blow up some shit. Putin should just join gun channels,
There you go.
Happy to have him on Lock and Load and argue about stuff with him.
But it doesn't look like practicing for warships. It looks more like an air show. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, they're just dropping stuff in front of the camera.
Yeah, making it, look precision, pretty.
Well, that's the whole thing with China. They bought that old aircraft carrier from Ukraine when all the ports were abandoned in the Crimea, and it was just scheduled to be scrapped. And but if you don't know how to run a carrier task force, it's pointless having a aircraft carrier. It's just a floating target. They'll never put that to sea or deploy it in any combat way.
Well, there's every nation does certain things for purposes of status, and the fact that they can say they have one, and that once a year it leaves port.
Well, back in the United States, uh, let's see how many missiles we can launch. So if you haven't panicked now and bought more ammo, especially if you live on an island, the Russians are coming.
Yeah.
Or the Chinese or somebody. Well, this is what they're practicing. If we only had oil, they would have invaded a long time ago. All right. Should we talk about silver while we watch all this stuff, or?
Well, this is almost like Hollywood.
Okay, what kind of AK is that? That was there long enough. I bought the playing cards deck. I got the AK
Right.
deck off of Strike Hard from Strike Hard.
Uh-huh.
When I bought a pouch and a couple other things, and it's pretty cool. I guess I haven't studied enough yet to identify the AK just from a 5-second shot on the screen. These guys must have too many flares that they don't need.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of heat-seeking missiles after them. So that's the only function of it.
They got a sale on flares from China.
Yeah,
off of eBay, and they're
from Flares R Us.
Oh man. Well, all right. Oh, an error occurred. Well, it's a Russian website and it crashed. What do you expect? All right, I'll screen share something else. We were only halfway through that.
Yeah. I think we got the gist of it.
Okay.
Yikes.
Page where I'm supposed to be at. Okay, we got an ad for some crazy thing. I've noticed that when an ad is supposed to play, everything just crashes. So.
Another thing that I've noticed, and it started I noticed it a couple weeks ago, although maybe it started before that, is like, let's say you click on in your feed, you click on a video to watch, and there's an ad that comes on there, except instead of being able to skip it after 5 seconds, if you look at the timer, it's actually 4 minutes and like 30 seconds or 4 minutes and 50 seconds long, the entire commercial. But if you click on refresh, then it will go straight to the video, and because otherwise you have to sit there for almost 5 minutes and watch the commercial. It's like crazy. But,
well, I'm at the point where I need to have like Internet Explorer and Firefox open at the same time to run a chat now. So don't ask me. Let's see if I can get back to the page I'm trying to get to. Well, I know what I can do.
So I noticed in your video that you like the decorative silver. And by decorative, I simply mean it's not bullion, but it's not sovereign either.
Well, are you talking about which one are you talking about?
What was it? It was like a
Thor.
Well, Thor was one of them.
I haven't bought that one. I just screen shared it. The one, I didn't buy the Thor one. It is a cool coin, but I prefer. That's not something I would invest in. I don't think it would just be that would be under cool to have coins, but under well, what I bought was even get back to the fucking chat page. All right, what I bought was the America the Beautiful coin with Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, yes, that's the one. But that's
Yeah,
still in the same category.
that's U.S. Mint. That's a U.S. Mint coin. You could buy it.
Right, but it's not a silver eagle.
It's 5 ounces and it's official U.S. coin with a face value, 25 cents. But I mean, it's 5 ounces of silver, so it's worth more
Right,
than
right. But
25
the fact
cents.
that it says 5 cents shows it's decorative, although it's still
25.
0.99 fine.
Yeah.
Um,
0.999, right? But it's just one of those. I wanted it because I like the fact that Teddy Roosevelt was the last president that carried a gun, every day to work as president, and it was a new. I like. I think that if you can get U.S. Mint stuff, it's easier to sell than just necessarily a bar. Like I have a 100 ounce bar that would probably be harder to sell than like a 1 ounce Silver Eagle or even a 10 ounce bar, because just most people, 100 ounce bar. Well, that'll if it goes to $800, like the gold to silver ratio, then it would be worth a lot of money. But that's trade that for a house or something, But
well, it would be the same type of person that would be interested in, let's say, a small gold purchase. Dollar wise, that's about what it's worth at current numbers.
well, yeah, but right. Obviously, we were talking before that off air that the last week I think it was that the um, markets in the U.S. On the COMEX, they processed in 10 seconds $1.5 billion worth of paper gold sales in 10 seconds. And basically, that is one of the big five banks like J.P. Morgan, whose CEO was on the air. They had a kind of a press conference at some economic forum today, and that's just market manipulations. If a regular person did that and just swept out all the longs, stop loss orders, and then forced the market down, and then covered a lot of that stuff at a new lower price, that's manipulating the market, and which is illegal. But except if it's J.P. Morgan or Chase or one of the big five, banks. And the reason they're doing this is because they have hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of paper short silver, and if the actual vacancy and lack of physical silver on the COMEX was exposed, that there's no way. I mean, they would lose a lot of money, and since they have a lot of capital, they want to make sure that doesn't happen. And you can't have also because of all the way they make money printing, they need to keep that. Is having high crazy metal prices, is you can't have negative interest rates and print tons of money if gold is like $10,000 an ounce or something.
And for
So
people listening who may not necessarily understand what he's saying or what I'm about to say, is there is no true price discovery model for the metals. And let me go into that just a little bit further. When you buy a precious metal, regardless of what it is, you buy it in dollars. Now, let's say it rises in value, and so you'd like to get the profit off of that. You sell it and receive it in dollars. You never actually receive the actual item, whether that's copper, gold, silver, or any other metal. So the metal doesn't even have to exist in the real world for it to be bought or sold, since it's bought and sold in dollars.
all the markets except China,
Excuse me?
on all the markets except the Shanghai Gold Exchange.
Well, the Shanghai is a relatively new thing, and I thought
Right.
maybe we'd get into that later as far as the new basket of international currencies that are going to be coming online here very shortly.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But as far as, because there is no true price discovery model, because it's all bought, you buy it in dollars, you sell it in dollars, no one has to say that what you're buying actually exists in the world of the here and now. And if you ask for your silver, in a case, let's say you buy silver at $15 an ounce, and now the price is 19, and you say, okay, I don't want my $19, I want my silver. good luck getting it if you're buying it off an exchange.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't
It's an
exist. It
imaginary
only
silver.
exists on paper in their imagination. And that's what I mean by there's no true price discovery method of what its actual value is. If it doesn't have to exist, it's literally like monopoly money. It's not real.
Yeah, that's basically the problem.
And that's how they're able to, as Hawaii Volcano Squad mentioned earlier, we may have been off air, but about the difference between price and gold and the ratios.
Okay, here was that website I was talking about earlier, also off air, I think, where you can see this particular one has silver bullion, gold bullion, platinum bullion, copper bullion, and lead bullion. They also sell ammo, which I thought was hilarious. But
Oh yeah, it is kind of a cool thing. And they also have the fact that they have survival food, safes and vaults.
Yeah, I haven't not bought from this company, so I don't know. I usually buy from JM Bullion, but whatever. You could buy from anybody. But I will only say is don't buy off of eBay, because you never know, for sure if there's a lot of forgeries out there, and the bigger, more reputable companies, they value their reputation and they test their metals. They don't, sell you forgeries.
Yeah. There's more than a couple of companies to buy from. The two that I always check the price if I'm going to make a purchase that day, because one day one company may have a better price, the next day some other company might have a better price of the exact same item. So as an example, I bought most of my metals through either provincialmetals.com or through jmbullion.com. But they're certainly not the only two out there.
All right. So yeah, I think we had more viewers when I was showing the Russian war video, but I can't get it back, But we should try and figure out what AK that was by next week. By the way, anyway.
Well, you've got a homework assignment then.
Yes, I do have the identification cards, and I'll have to go back and look at it. I know it was like about halfway through the video, right before the damn ad, the YouTube ad came up and screwed up the playback. So, anyway, yeah. So I was just mentioning earlier the Shanghai Exchange is the Shanghai Gold Exchange, the only exchange in the world that actually requires that all trades be settled in actual bullion, the silver or gold or whatever the trade is, by the end of the day. And if you don't do that, they will throw you off of the exchange and suspend your rights. So to trade there, and if you do that, and if you do lots of paper trading, on any other exchange in the world, they will also throw you off of their exchange. So you're talking about the big 5 banks in the US, they can't trade on the Shanghai exchange as far as I know. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff to be panicked about. You get people, we live in a panicky world, and there's a lot of panic bait videos out there. And I certainly I just started talking about what was happening with the ships last week, and it seemed to have a lot of interest, judging by the amount of views it got. But this is just, I usually do my Monday chat, I'll lock and load and, talk about what's up and buy it, whether I bought some ammo or some working on an axe or, knives. But the silver markets, it's all been crazy lately, but the bottom line is the world is $1.5 quadrillion in debt. And, eventually that bubble will pop, and whether it's Deutsche Bank going down or the Italian banks going down and the EU breaking up, and when the Brexit eventually happens, or Turkey leaves NATO, or, Greece. Check out what's happening in Greece. They actually, first of all, it's unbelievable that people in Greece still have their money in Greece banks, but the government is requiring everyone to register all their property with the government, fill out a form. So if you own like, a few gold coins, you're supposed to register it with the government.
Oh yeah, they're not interested in how many boxes of facial tissue you have. They're interested in how many hard assets you have.
Exactly, because that way they can tax them
Yep.
or take them, or, do whatever they have to do, and, because they're one of the countries with a major debt problem. The Italian banks have a big problem with, non-performing loans, and Deutsche Bank is about to go under, it looks like, and that will be a massive, and that's the heart of the EU. That's the biggest bank in Germany. So, I mean, if that goes down, who knows what the unwind of that will be. And so a lot of people around the world that watch the financial markets are panicky, and but a lot of people that watching the elections are panicky, and I can't even watch the elections anymore. I mean, candidates are dropping. I did get something from Gun Owners of America a couple days ago that I have to mail in. They sent out like a postcards with my local representatives in the Senate, and basically saying not to support or compromise on Second Amendment rights, even though all my representatives happen to be, I'm in a deep blue state behind enemy lines, so we're definitely they're all anti-freedom, anti-gun, legislators, Tulsi Gabbard, Brian Schatz, and somebody else whose name I can't remember, but it's on the postcard. They send you a little form letter. You just put a stamp on it, sign your name, and mail it. So I got to get that done. And I think Wednesday I'm going to go wave. Every Wednesday they're having a Trump sign waving for all the good it'll do in Hawaii. But I'll just go out there and get some good exercise standing around. I need the exercise anyway, and walk back and forth with a Trump sign and, and an American flag. But it's just been, everybody's panicky, and there's a lot of videos, and if you want somebody to click on your video, just write ammo panic or something, and you'll have a lot of people watching it. But, it's just, I guess you have to be, I have been kind of in the panic mode, but it's just, I'm trying to be very thoughtful, on my purchases, and not, I'm not going to run up a credit card debt or anything. I'm not like working for the Fed, but that's what the thing is, that how it's like the mafia. It's set up like the mafia. When you work for the Federal Reserve, you're like a hitman, and basically if you kill enough people, then then the banks will hire you. And then it's like you're a made man in the mafia. And then, so, after you get done working for the Federal Reserve, then basically you can apply for a job at Goldman Sachs for $25 million a year, and you just sit on some board.
Let me just pause you for a moment. At the end of this month, October 1st, we will have a new special drawing rights currency, and that's the Chinese, I can't pronounce this, RMB. RMB.
Renminbi.
Yes, renminbi is the fifth currency effective on October 1st.
What that means is the people's money. Chinese.
Okay. Currently out there, you've got the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, and the pound sterling. And so the Chinese, what he just said, will
renminbi.
be fifth. And a lot of people are concerned about that, because all the other countries, as far as their version of a Federal Reserve, are playing the same monetary game as far as printing money and attempting to, from behind the scenes, manipulate the markets. The Chinese don't play their own game and are completely independent of the rest of the world in regards to what they do is good for China, regardless of anyone else.
Of course.
And this example of settling on the Shanghai market of gold is a good example of how they're trying to make the Chinese currency look better than other currencies, so that hopefully it can become the currency of the default currency of the world, which right now the reserve currency is, of course, the US dollar.
Yeah, and that's what part of the meeting was in with the Russian Saudi Arabia. They want Saudi Arabia to stop taking U.S. dollars in payment for oil, but that's not going to happen yet. But what was really interesting about what you're talking about with China is that for them to actually finally enter the special drawing rights currency and with the IMF, they have to actually report exactly how much gold they have stockpiled. And that has been like a state secret of China, you know.
Well, what makes you think that they'll be any more honest than we are?
Well, it's a part. Well, because they need to be in the Chinese in the special drawing reserve rights currency. I mean, you know, for a long time, China had a one-track mind. When they were dealing with the U.S., they had one thing on their mind. They wanted to be in the WTO, the World Trade Organization. So they were nice with the USA because they knew only the USA could get them into the WTO. And now that they're in the WTO, they don't give a shit about the USA anymore. So they're not nice. So they want to be in. It's because it's what they want. They want those special drawing reserve currencies to mean something and to not, you know, so and to have like actually have value. So for that to happen, they have to be honest about that. And people have been guessing.
They have to declare a number. I agree on that. We have to declare a number. When's the last time we had an actual audit? An actual full-fledged.
I think it was in 1930, 1930 or something. Or
I'm
was
going to
it?
throw the word independent audit, not an internal government audit. Independent, we've never had one. No one really knows.
Yeah, and we just bought 50 tons of gold from, I think, Switzerland just last week for some reason.
And you know, and why are we refusing to return a lot of Europe's gold back to them? And for those that may not be aware, just before World War II and during World War II, the United States made the offer to all the European countries that were under attack by the Germans and Italians to hold on to their gold, so in case their country was overrun, at least they wouldn't lose their gold. Well, after the war, they held on to it for safekeepings, and now a lot of the countries are asking for their gold back. And the United States is telling some of the countries flat out no, or telling them, well, you can have half of it now, but now means like 2 years from now, and the other half we'll talk later. And well, what's the reason for that?
Well, there's if you put all the gold in the world in one spot, it would basically fill up an Olympic-size pool, and that's about it.
Yeah, all the known gold.
Right. Well, you know, if we don't know about it, you know.
Well, right, but that's a key phrase because, again, if there's no, it's like having a company and not having an independent financial audit. How can you tell that the company is truly profitable and they're not cooking the books unless you have an independent audit?
The books have been cooked for so long. You know, they are well done.
But it would only be prudent of the Chinese to, I'm going to use the word, alter their numbers, call it cheating, call it what you want, and underreport their gold. Because you can always bring the number up, but you can never bring the number down.
Gold is like used as a weapon. How much the country has, you know.
Yes.
And at like Venezuela has a bunch of gold, and they're never letting any of it go, no matter what, because that will be the end of their government if they do. So, I mean, their government is almost ended anyway, but you know, they do have quite a lot of gold stockpiled in Venezuela, but they're you know.
Right. Well, they traded oil for gold, you know, when times were good and, you know, gas was $4 a gallon. with the eye that it would last forever and only went one direction, up.
I bet they wish they had some of their money to Cuba back right now, so
Yeah.
they could give their people food and toilet paper. But
And gold and silver is nice, but you can't eat it.
well, yeah, but it always has been money, and well, you need food too. You obviously, that's why when I'm, panic buying, I try and balance. you know
Yeah.
what should I buy without going into debt? How much food should I have? How much ammo should I have? How many guns should I have? How much water filtration or water containers should I have? And where is my bug out location? I haven't quite got that sorted yet either, but I try and thoughtfully pick what I'm going to panic buy. you know you know
Well, there's a difference between a planned purchase and a panic buy. A panic buy is something that yesterday you were not planning, had no thoughts of planning, of buying at all. And you wake up this morning and suddenly you hear something,
Yeah,
you
but
have a dream, and you got to get it now. That's panic buying.
but lately there's like something to panic about every day. I mean, the market went crazy just yesterday because like Hillary Clinton had pneumonia. And I had pneumonia, and like I said, I wanted to lose the election, but I don't want her to die. But the markets just went haywire. They have priced in Hillary as president. And since the stock market is the greatest discounting mechanism that we know of, that's kind of scary. But I don't know who takes over if Hillary has to step aside. But
Well, that guy that she picked.
He's a vice presidential candidate. He wasn't nominated for president. They'd pick Bernie or something, or
I mean, it's difficult to say. I mean, this close.
Yeah, we're 60 days away from the election, and I know that I'm certainly at the point where I don't know if the people in Greece have registered all their, things of value with the government, but it's just scary that the government's even asking.
Well, I mean, in Connecticut, one thing that we know for sure, we know it for a fact, is that when they required registration of all black guns, is that there were approximately 10,000 guns registered. And it's estimated that they had well over 100,000 black guns sold in that state prior to. So only 1 out of 10 registered. Now, different country, different reason for registering, but we know that when people start being asked to register their assets, they tend to underreport.
Yeah, but the penalty for that is jail. So
Well,
and they're watching everything that you do. So,
but on the other hand, if it's something of value, whether it's gold or whether it's something that you could trade or sell, that's what promotes black markets.
Yeah,
is when the traditional market is no longer suiting the needs of the people, the black market will step in and fill those needs.
Black markets matter. Yep. But wow, that's getting out there. I was watching this movie last night that I hadn't seen. I think it's from 2008. With it, I guess I'm not a big Leonardo DiCaprio fan. I mean, I liked him in Blood Diamonds, but I saw this movie called Body of Lies. And there's this one scene that I thought was really interesting, where the U.S. uses drones a lot, and in the story they're in Amman, Jordan, and they're basically kidnapping Leonardo DiCaprio's character. They're doing a hostage exchange of Leonardo's character for somebody else, and so they pick him up. They know they're being watched by drones, right? So one car picks him up, drops him in the middle of the desert, and then drives away. Then they know they're being watched by drones, like these 6 SUVs approach him, and then they stop and they form a circle, and they just drive in a circle and kick up this gigantic dust storm, and then then the cars go into the center, so the drones and the satellites, all they see is a dust storm, and they don't know which car he got in, and then they all 6 cars drive in different directions. On the way out. So the guys looking, or they cut to the guys in the, drone control room. We're looking at, it's like, okay, which car do you want us to follow with the drone? And He's like, I don't know. Where so then they lose track of Leonardo DiCaprio, and I won't spoil it, but it was an interesting movie, Body of Lies. Um, but that was like the most interesting scene. It's like you're always being watched by the government. So uh, if you put everything that you own on YouTube, they'll figure it out. If you underreport, or you don't register your gold or a gun or how much ammo you have, or I'm definitely myself. I need to start getting into more operational security, or just not posting everything I do on
Too
YouTube.
late.
Too late. Too late. I'm screwed. Well, they haven't started, a register your gold or every round of ammo you have yet. I mean, if Hillary gets elected, they might, and
Yeah.
that will be something to panic about.
Well,
Register how much ammo you have. And if you lie, that's a felony. If you,
when you delete your email, is your email truly deleted, or do you just not have access to it?
one thing there's a lot of interesting things in that movie, Body of Lies. One thing that, Leonardo DiCaprio's character did was, as a CIA spy, is he would find some Al Qaeda lawyer, and then get, go to some website that's frequented, that's like some website that, is like, anti-American, and then with a lot of an Arab thing, and then they take everybody's name, uh, and then just send them all money. They have a fake email, and then they just send them all money. So because they knew everybody was watching them. So they would have, all of a sudden, these people would have money deposited in their accounts by, and then so when they picked the Al Qaeda lawyer to meet with the people that on some trumped up thing, then Saudi security, intelligence agencies are watching, where the money, who get the money in their account and who was meeting with an Al Qaeda lawyer, and then all those people would disappear, or be arrested, and then it was just. It was just an interesting, way insight into how the intelligence game works, and how you have to think, how you have to mislead, misdirection is how it all works, and what shell is the damn pea under. So, but I'm definitely going to be posting less and less, ammo buys, or not as many ammo runs. Although I did post one today, but it's
But the
going to be.
reason I said the comment about the email is because everything, as an example, that I've put on my channel or chats that I've been in, just because a chat is no longer posted, or a video I've made, I've so-called deleted, which just means I don't have access to it. I have no doubts that that they might be kept somewhere.
Oh yeah, NSA
Because
in
they
Bluffsdale,
have the
Utah.
resources to store
Everything.
unbelievably massive amounts of information. And so it's not that the information is that important, but if for some reason in the future
Somebody
they
wants
think that it might be, it's worth keeping to them.
Yeah, basically Bluffsdale, Utah. The NSA stores everything. Now, I'm not going to go see the Snowden movie. The movie I want to see is the Magnificent Seven, and but I'm behind on the movies that I wanted to see. I still haven't seen the last Star Wars. I still haven't seen.
You mean there's a remake of the Magnificent Seven?
Yeah, just coming out on the 27th.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not going to be as good as the original, but there's going to be a lot of guns and things blowing up,
okay.
so I'll watch it. Yeah, that's going to be. I'm going to be like there the first day for that one, just because there's guns. But and you don't see too many westerns nowadays, because they don't always make money, so they don't make them. But what else is anything good playing in a movie theater? But I'm behind on the movies that I was supposed to see.
Yeah, I don't go to the movies very often. I used to,
save money for silver.
Watch a lot of rentals, and then I got into Netflix, and I've been doing that sort of thing for a long time now. And I cut the cable probably about 5 years ago. So I don't have access to regular TV or any of that stuff anymore, which is fine with me because it gives me time for other things I like to do.
That's cool. I haven't cut that cable yet. I still have cable. But you know what I have
Well,
not been doing is I have not been watching NFL football as much, or at all, because like I think the San Francisco 49ers are playing the Rams tonight, and it's like a long time since there's been a Rams versus LA Rams versus 49ers games, but I'm not going to watch it with Colin Kaepernick. And every time somebody takes a knee during the national anthem, I just switch to something else. I don't want to watch that game anymore. And so, since he has a lot of support around the league for protesting the American flag, I just don't think that's the place for it. And so I'm not, if people stop watching, they'll notice.
I understand they're contractors, but what kind of amazes me is that for any other traditional employer, if you don't follow the guidelines and the wishes of your employer, you probably won't be there very long. Yet somehow that the owners don't seem to, at least to me, they don't seem to come down very hard at all on these players, just to say, well, just be nice, play along. It's only a minute, but this is would like you to represent the team positively and put a positive image about our company. In this case, our company is the 49ers, or our company is the Miami Dolphins, or whatever it happens to be. And yet they allow these employees, contractors, to get away with behavior that does not put the company in a positive light.
Yep, they're just not gonna. Well, I understand not, wanting to interfere with people's freedom of speech. That's the First Amendment.
But that's when they're off the clock.
Well, they have freedom of speech on the clock too. It's just
you have freedom. Yeah, if you work at a convenience store, you do not you can say what you want, but you don't have to work there anymore.
Well, it's different. Right? It's different in a field. Well, the NFL is in a convenience store. But anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out.
And you're an employee, and you have an agreement with them as to your behavior for when you're being paid. Now, when you leave the store and go down the block, you can say what you want to say. But while you're in there representing the convenience store, the convenience store owners, you're getting paid by them to present them in a positive light. Now, I realize I may be oversimplifying it.
Yeah, this is a league decision. It's up to the NFL, and the NFL has decided to do nothing.
Special people. Again, I almost go into the Hillary thing of the rules don't apply to them because they're the special people. They're the heroes. They're that 1% of the 1%. So we don't have. They live by a separate set of rules that us little people, can only look up to them. Drives me crazy when I see that shit.
Well, they are talented football players. It's not easy to make it in the NFL, but I wanted to give a shout out to Colossal Ammo and Mr. DB Cooper out there in the text chat on YouTube. Sorry I couldn't give you a shout out earlier, but I still having computer. My computer is just like its keyboard has a mind of its own, so clicking around is tough. But anyway, okay, we covered the NFL, the Russian Chinese island invasion, which I suppose is supposed to intimidate Japan. I didn't name that AK, which I'm gonna have to try and figure out for next week. And have we solved the silver market or the metals market yet, or have we killed it yet?
I don't know if we'll ever really solve it, but we'll come back to it at some point in the future.
Yeah. I'm stacking all as much silver as and gold as I can, but I have no idea when, it happens. Some people say before the election, some people say by the end of the year, and some people say within 2 years, the debt bubble will pop. At some point, these countries, including the United States, will not be able to pay, the interest on the debt, especially if the market, if something happens, in other countries. It doesn't have to, but if the dollar goes down, Katie, close the barn doors, I don't know what the proper expression is, but
Well, and that's a situation where if it does, people may prefer silver or gold over the dollar.
I already prefer silver or gold over the
I mean,
dollar.
for making substantial purchases.
And there are, you know, banks that only trade that you could actually get a credit card to that actually only actually it's not a dollar backed bank. It's like silver and gold metals only. I'm not familiar with them. I don't have one yet, but I have heard about them. So that kind of thing is out there. It depends, how much you want to put into and how you want to do it. I like having the gold and silver in my house, but I'm looking forward to moving and not publishing where I'm moving, but hopefully before the.
Well, and that's where diversification is more than just an investment idea. It also has to do with location of your assets. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. You also don't keep them all in one location.
Well,
I mean, in case you go and you spend 2 days, visiting somebody, and you come back and your place is cleaned out.
That would be a problem.
Versus if you kept, split it in half or split it into thirds and kept some at your folks' house and some at somebody else's, and then at least if your place was cleaned out, they only cleaned you out a half or a third of what you have rather than everything.
Yeah, it's definitely, well, you can't be everywhere all the time, and you can't guard your home when you're not there, and
yeah, and you don't want to be a hermit.
No, you have to get out there and do things and talk to people and participate in the world, and security is like, it's not an easy issue. There's so many when you get into prepping, it's like uh it's whether you do it as a hobby or for serious reasons, it's definitely not a simple thing, and they're just like, it's like a Rubik's cube sometimes.
Yes, and but it doesn't have to be overwhelming, although it can be.
Lately, it has been for me, because it's just every day, for the last week, I've been waking up thinking, okay, what areas of my preps are weak? What do I need to work on? Whether it's skills or stuff, just having stuff isn't going to do it. You have to have some skills, and, just having skills won't do it either. I mean, have a gas mask and you need one,
Well, I mean,
there isn't a lot that can replace
a term you're going to laugh at, but it takes a village.
Oh God.
And what I mean by that is that even if you have the skills, it takes, you're not going to be able to do it on your own. You're going to have to reach out to other people because just your own security. You can't stay up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then when are you going to, help make the food, help process the food, help, with the tools? When are you going to do all those other things? You can't. You have to work with other people. Now, people will be a lot more, this is just my opinion, but a lot more open to what I'm discussing now if times get hard. Meaning, suddenly the just-in-time grocery store is lower out. They'll be a lot more flexible as far as, if I fix your car, could you give me a couple number 10 cans of pork and beans or something? I don't know. I'm just making it up, but
number 10 can of pork and beans. Yeah, I've been looking at some stuff. I think I posted on the gunchannels.com/prepper site that I started for preppers, some free Augustin's Farms has like a giveaway of a year's worth of food, and some other company too. But I definitely have not bought pails ever. I mean, basically my food preps consist of buying a lot of canned stuff at Costco, and every time I go to Walmart, I buy one of those Mountain House things, and over the years, just one bag of Mountain House at every Walmart visit adds up.
There was a short period of time, probably about 3 months, that I started the Mountain House thing, and then thank goodness I stopped, because I mean, there's no problem with the Mountain House thing. It's just it's a very high cost solution, very far.
Yeah, I also got like when I was at Costco, I got like an 18 pack of macaroni and cheese, which isn't the healthiest thing, but it's it's like almost gourmet food if the shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And also 12 packs of ramens were on sale recently at Walmart. Picked up a few of those, if not to eat them, but just even to trade them. After a few weeks of no food, people will be, those will be worth their weight in gold.
Inexpensive food saved for barter, not necessarily consumption, would be a smart play, because those ramen noodles would be going like hotcakes when there's nothing at the local grocery store.
Yep. And but it's harder when when you're in a condominium, and you don't have like a billion, like an acre of storage space where you can set up some kind of structure to store a bunch of stuff, cache a bunch of food or whatever. So I'm definitely, when I get out of here, the next place will have room for more preps, but I don't think I'm going to be putting them all on YouTube anymore. I don't think I've ever put my food preps on YouTube because it'd be boring.
I've never gone into like how much of something I have. But what I do go into is like the types of things, like the Augusta Farms. I have some of that stuff, as well as some of their competitor stuff.
Is it good?
I thought it was. I thought, as far as for having a 20-year lifespan. Yeah.
Have you eaten any of it yet, or have you not?
Yes, I've sampled some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, because when you spend all that money on a big pail or something, and then you open it, you shorten the shelf life. So a lot of people don't
exactly.
Open it.
So once you open it, you have to plan on, okay, now I'm going to have to either eat it all or end up tossing some of it away. So you're making an investment there, but you certainly want to try before you buy. So see if you can buy it in a smaller can or a smaller serving size first. Then if you like it, then go buy the larger serving.
Yep.
Sometimes that's not possible, but do what you can.
I always also try and have a lot of like protein bars from every time I go to Walmart. I have to try and pick the healthy ones, but anyway. All right. And so I think we covered everything we need to cover this week, or is there any gun news that I missed? This week, I haven't been paying too close attention, other than the Gun Owners of America sending. If you're a member of Gun Owners of America, they sent you out a mailer with with postcards to mail into your representatives. About I think the National Reciprocity Act that they want passed. The Democrats are pushing gun control light or something, through trying to get that taken up. They want to vote on no fly, no buy, or whatever. The secret list, the secret list that they put you on, that that you can't get off of. There's no procedure to get you that puts you on it. It's just somebody says, okay, we want to watch you, so you're now on the no fly list, and so now you can't buy. So there's no way to get off of it once you're on it. So. If you're not a member of Gun Owners of America, that's a pretty good organization to join, I would think. And that's that's one of those things where it takes a village. A lot of those organizations, like the Firearm Policy Coalition, there's a lot of good organizations out there that are worth checking out and joining and getting active. I know, like, sending postcards to my anti-gun representatives is almost like a waste of a stamp, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because that's me. And when I go out Wednesday with a Trump sign, I'll be lucky if I don't get run over by a car. But it's such a deep blue state.
Had you heard of the Washington State Attorney General proposal on ban on assault weapons and high capacity mags?
Oh, is there something happening in Washington State?
I'm trying to think. I think this is a video, not a. And then down in San Jose, proposes new gun control. Of course, what is it's on our new right coast, known as used to be the left coast. Now it's the ultra left coast.
Well, Elvis Presley did a movie called Blue Hawaii, and he wasn't kidding. This is a blue state.
Waiting for my page to hurry up and download.
Okay, and before we wrap it, I wanted to say that our Mayor Kanoi over here in Hawaii, for those 4,000 plus people who may have watched my poking fun at him and the, Kanoi and his hostesses, he's our mayor who puts, the uh, Korean hostesses from the Evergreen Lounge bar in Honolulu on the government credit card. And apparently he's also bought lots and lots of alcohol and picked up bar tabs like crazy on his credit card. And basically the state attorney general wants the county of Hawaii's attorney to turn over all of Mayor Kanoi's emails. And they said, no, client privilege, attorney client privilege, except Kanoi's not the client. This of the attorney of the county of Hawaii, the state of Hawaii, the county of Hawaii is the client, not the mayor. So it's like, who does the mayor think he is? Hillary Clinton? He won't turn over the emails either. So it's that his trial is coming up on October 10th. Our mayor, and he's an anti-gun mayor too. So it's just funny. It's like he's like a miniature Hillary. There's so many things you could panic about. Just every time you pick up the paper, you want to buy something different. It's like, okay, you wash your Russian exercise, or you turn on the business news, or Hillary gets pneumonia. And when I heard she had pneumonia, I mean, I figured there had to be something underlying it. I mean, they said it was allergies brought it on, but I don't know. When I had pneumonia, right after it, I needed a bypass operation. So, I don't know. I hope she doesn't have any other serious underlying problems, but
I do have some of the details on the gun stuff.
Shoot.
On the San Jose, officials are pushing for the city to go further with a proposed law that would toughen requirements for securing firearms. That means put them in a safe, reporting their theft, and monitoring ammunition sales.
Monitoring ammunition sales.
Yes, that's San Jose, California. And the Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson said at a news conference that he's planning to push lawmakers in January to end the sale of military-style semi-automatic rifles and limit high-capacity magazines. Now, at first, I thought it was like that Massachusetts Attorney General, where they were just reinterpreting the law. No, he's going to get together with a couple of their state senators to draft a proposal for a bill to do this. Now, why he's putting it out there now, so far ahead of January, I have no idea. The timing seems kind of weird, is to come out with this statement now when you're not going to do it until, you put it out in December. You don't put it out now.
Well, maybe they're just trying to motivate their base before the election.
Could be. But yeah, I see, there's a lot of, like, and using Massachusetts as an example, action on state level and city levels, even, larger cities, trying to, seeing that the federal government is not doing what they want done, so they're trying to get it done locally.
Hey, can I ask you a question? My dad is going to be driving to Arizona in a few weeks, Flagstaff and Tucson, and I know you can't buy guns, if you're in Arizona just visiting from out of state. But can you buy magazines? Because he's definitely in need of some magazines. or do they ask you if you're from California if you want to buy, a magazine?
Well, that's a good question. I don't live in Arizona.
Ah,
Uh,
okay. Well, next time you talk to somebody that does, can you help me out and let me know? Yeah, because he's driving in, and he has a cousin that lives in Tucson. He's
but
staying
what I
there.
guarantee you, if you write an email or anyone else listening to dailygunshow@gmail.com with your question, it will get read on the air and answered
Oh, cool. I'll have
because
to do
we
that.
do check that every day.
But I hate to put something like that in an email.
Well, you don't have
I'd
to put
rather
it
make the
all
NSA
in.
listen to the entire chat and give me one view.
No, if you want your answer from somebody that lives there, that's
All
one way to
right,
get
all
it.
right. Yeah, make me do it on that way. All I know is I think the last time I was on a lobby, G Webs was mad at me because I mean he was like talking and filibustering, and I was on there for like an hour, and I was waited 2 hours to get into the lobby because it was full. And then when I finally got in, G Webs had just started on some new topic, and I waited there for 15 minutes, and I never got a chance to talk. So when I tried to get one sentence out, I was pretty much told to shut up. So anyway, it's just I'd like the chance to be able to talk once in a while. Say it, but I just hate it when I can't even say one sentence, and it's like you're interrupting. But it's just the way the lobby works. But
The lobby can be an unusual and sometimes a cruel place.
it's a painful place sometimes. But
Um, because a lot of times I'll go in there and like they will have talked about something just a few minutes ago, but it took me a few minutes to get into the chat. By the time I get in there, they've already moved on. It's like, well, wait a minute, I had a follow-on question.
yeah, and that's what the problem about not letting people talk. I know that uh, who was the guy in NBC with the blonde hair? Chris Matthews, I think it is. He always used to do that with his guests. He would have them on, he'd let them say like one word, and then he would shut them up and just talk right over them for an hour. And people would be like, "Why am I on this show? Nobody ever lets me talk." So, but hey, gun channels, you can't live with it, you can't live without it. So it is what it is. Um, it's a really good place to get all the information you need about guns. And second, especially great place, like you were saying, sometimes it does take a village. And it was as far as getting active on Second Amendment issues, it's a really good place to try and do that. And that's why I'm there, because freedom matters. So
I mean, I spend far more time listening to other people's chats than I do participating.
that's one thing about YouTube, is that usually how it works is they subscribe to you, you subscribe them back, and now I have all these people that were into guns, and I try and watch everybody's video that they sub me and I sub them, and it's a lot of work. I could spend like 3 hours a day just watching everybody's video, in between the preppers and the gun people, from
Mm-hmm.
all over the world.
Right.
It's like I'd like to get out of the house and stop watching YouTube videos, but you kind of it's a community, and you're trying to keep up with everybody, and you almost have an obligation. So, oh, I see somebody from the UK wants me to say guns. Hey, Jester. Uh, Guns, right? So every
Guns are
time I
great. Guns are great. Guns are great.
yeah, well, it's about freedom. Like I was saying, the Scottish uh, 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 law clerk who wrote the 12 Limitations of Government that was never adopted before Scotland joined the UK, said that the badge of distinction between a free man and a slave is a firearm, because they don't let slave have guns. So if you're free, if you have a gun, basically you can always say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to build you a pyramid for free. You're going to have to pay me to do the work. But, if you don't, you're just, if the government doesn't let you have a gun, then the government is control of your life. And, more or less. That being said,
Well, because
I want to get some zombietools.net knives. That's so bad. but it's on my list of preps, and somewhere around gas masks. So
What I was going to say is when only the government has guns, then who truly has the sole monopoly on forceful action and power?
well, the government is, they've got a army and a national guard, so they're going to have more power than any individual. But I mean, because they're organized better, and that's what they do
Oh,
for a
true,
living.
true. But
And
they've already enacted in law the ability to take assets, i.e., money, through taxes, whether it be income taxes or sales taxes or other various forms of fees from us. And if we choose not to pay those,
well, that's the whole thing
what do
with
they use to get that? They use force.
bail-ins. They use bail-ins for one thing. Next time there's a
Well,
banking crisis, the government won't bail out the banks. The banks will bail themselves out by taking, people's retirement 401ks or their bank accounts or whatever. So there's something else for you to worry about.
oh no, I was already fully aware of that. And speaking with the helicopter money, they were supposed to spend that on reinvesting it in the communities where the banks were located. They were not supposed to buy back their own stock.
Well, that makes it easy for
They
the
were not supposed to
corporations.
do what they're doing now,
They're
which is
doing
buying
one
stock
of
in
two
private
things.
companies.
They're buying one of two things. They're either keeping the money and not storing it in a bank that would pay negative interest. They would store it in and the insurance companies have a problem with these huge corporations storing warehouses full of cash because they don't want to put it in the bank, or they're buying their own stocks back to increase their earnings per share. That makes them look good, and which props up the stock market, because if they have earnings per share, people are buying stocks, so it makes the price go up, even if it's just the government money, and the stock market goes up. I mean, we were at a new high recently. I mean, we went down for a few days, but Dow has been at all-time highs, and when the bubble goes, my famous sound effect, it's going to be a sound. It's going to be the pop that's heard around the
Yeah.
world, but who knows when that's going to happen, or I know it's going to happen, but I have no idea when. So it's kind of like Yellowstone. you know we know the volcano is going to blow up one day, but it could be another 600,000 years. I don't think it's going to be that long till this debt bubble pops, because it's got more pressure on it than the volcano. But anyway, so I think we've panicked enough for this week. If you would like to panic some more, tune in next week. And hey, Jester, thanks for showing up in the YouTube chat over there. And let's see, anything else we need to cover before we wrap it? Dano. Okay, his computer died. My computer died. And this has been another wonderful session of Lock and Load. And if you're not locked and loaded by now, you better get your ass locked and loaded, because shit is going down. God bless America and all my friends in the UK and around the world. Stay safe. Get ready. And be peaceful. I'm out. Hawaii Volcano Squad signing off.